Hey guys, welcome back. So for this video, I'm going to show you guys my review for 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Now, before I review, I've been the nerdy movie guy on here for so long, but I think some of you guys are starting to wonder, what is my name? So for this video, my name is Jimmy. So let's get into this movie. Now, before I talk about this one, there have been 3 previous installments to this franchise, and I want to show you guys the copy I have. I have 3 different formats for all of them, really. 28 days later, I have a Blu-ray copy. I found this at a local movie store. It was 45 bucks for a used copy, and I found this at the time before 28 Years Later had come out. People knew it was releasing, and a lot of people were trying to get their hands on the first 2. So finding this for that kind of a price, I was like, damn, I gotta get it. So I got it. I have this movie, and I watched it, and I'm glad that I have it, because this is a really cool movie. I think there's just something about this one that keeps it set apart from the rest of its sequels in a great way. And the character Jim, his rumor of returning is just really, really cool. And so I'm excited to see where this franchise goes, because it obviously started so well. So let's move on to the next one. I have 28 Weeks Later. I found a DVD copy of this. I could not find a Blu-ray copy. I tried to find these movies before 28 Years Later came out. And when I found this, what's cool about this copy actually is after opening it up, I can see on the inside that this was an old Blockbuster box. So, it's kind of neat. So it's pretty cool to see, kind of a blast from the past, nostalgic sort of thing. So having this copy is really cool. Like I said, it wasn't too hard to find a DVD copy of this one, but I was still pretty excited to get my hands on a copy of it. And then, of course, for 28 Years Later, I had to pre-order the Steelbook for a pretty penny. It was 50 bucks, and unlike most pre-orders on Amazon, this one did not go on sale. But the front is pretty cool, the back is pretty cool, and I knew, given how rare the copies for the 2 previous movies were, I knew if I wanted this, I had to just order it immediately, pay the price, and, well, now having it in my collection, I'm glad it's here. So, I love this one. I thought this one was really cool. This one definitely had more of an emotional story than the previous 2. And in this next installment, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, they sort of did the same thing. Now, it seems like the movie has been struggling at the box office. I think a lot of people who watch it are really enjoying it, and I think there's a lot to enjoy about it. The only complaint I'm hearing really is that there's not a lot of zombies in this one. And I guess it is true. There's definitely less zombies in this latest installment than any of its previous films. Now, with that being said, maybe you could assume the less is more strategy is applied here, but I really don't think so. I think the reason there's just not very many zombies is this movie gives us more of an explanation to the world and how the zombies work and what they really are and how the virus really operates. So this movie sort of was like applying surgery onto the franchise. Like, what is underneath all of this that we've seen for now going on 4 movies? It sort of gave us all those layers underneath. And so we have a storyline with Dr. Ian Kelson, and the alpha zombie Samson, as he's named in the previous movie and in this one as well. Ian Kelson is beginning these experiments to try and figure out if there's any humanity left in the zombies, or the infected, whichever term you prefer. And so for this movie, that is his storyline, is can Samson's humanity be restored? And there's a theory that the character has that it's all psychological, not some physical, like, he's just assuming it's not just a drug that ended up being a virus. What if it was psychological? And the idea he's entertaining is, what do zombies see when they attack? Do they see another zombie? Do they see something that they think is a threat? And so this whole idea is just so interesting, because it's a brand new idea for the franchise. None of the previous films have sort of brought this concept up in any sort of way. So this is something that's just uncharted territory for the franchise, and it was a really interesting story. So as we move on from that, to get back to our other secondary story, Jack O'Connell, he plays Sir Lord Jimmy Crystal, and it's a cult. It's a Satanist cult, and it's just a wild loop for this movie because we didn't have this kinds of stories in the previous movies, but his acting is absolutely incredible. I mean, he was by far the standout in this movie, I would say. And a lot of people were worried because of the ending of 28 Years Later, that it was going to be wild and goofy and crazy. It was not that at all. It was taken very seriously. It was very visceral. It was very intense. His character was, I mean, I would argue he's established himself in this franchise as one of the most notable villains, I would say. There was just so many sequences that were so really cool. He has the hand, where he has, he basically has these guys, guys and girls, his followers, become his weapons. And so they're all named Jimmy. Everyone in this group is Jimmy. And his idea is just to kill. He's killing people. He's killing the infected. He's just killing just because. And his whole ideology is that his father, Satan, these are, the Satan's curse of the world, pretty much. And so the idea that there are cults within the world trying to rationalize some sort of meaning or explanation or purpose for everything that's going on around the characters in their lives, it's a very different approach to how characters deal with what's going on. So his character was just an interesting character because it gave so many different kinds of layers that we haven't had with any characters in the franchise up until this point. And so, of course, we have Spike from the last movie. He's Jimmy now. And he's starting to see how violent they are. I mean, they're ripping flesh off of people while still alive, regular civilians who aren't zombies. And so Jimmy is Sir Lord Jimmy Crystal. He's just one of the most violent characters I've seen in a while. And so as this movie, as Spike is sort of struggling, their story, as they're looking for Satan, leads them to Dr. Ian Kelson. And so we get this really interesting bond between Jimmy and Ian, where he's having to pretend to be Satan for Jimmy and his followers, so Jimmy can fool his followers into believing it's all really true after all. So we get this really cool sequence, this musical sequence, where there's dancing, there's fire. It's just an insane scene, and it's really, really cool. But then Dr. Ian Kelson recognizes Spike. Now, this is where the movie sort of takes a turn as far as darker endings for characters. Now, up until this point, until Jimmy has met up with Ian, throughout the movie, Ian has been trying to cure Samson, and we find out at this point that the cure works. And right now, Samson's not here. While all these characters are intermingled into this one story, Samson's off fighting zombies, and what's interesting is not only do we find out he's cured, he starts speaking and he has his humanity back, but other zombies are biting him, scratching him, attacking him. He's getting blood all over him. And in every previous installment, if someone gets the blood from the infected, they become infected. But now, with him being cured, he's also, it seems, immune. I thought it would just suck if he's finally cured but he gets bit by a zombie and he's zombie again. But now he's practically immune, which in 28 weeks later, they sort of dabbled with the story of what would it look like if someone were immune to the virus. So the fact that Samson is immune to it now as well is just really interesting. And so as these characters between Jimmy and Ian are sort of having this conflicting stories where, his followers don't really know what's going on. One of the followers, this girl that's been helping Spike, she attacks the others, and they end up attacking main Jimmy, but not after Jimmy attacks Ian. So after all of this, we have two Jimmys left, Spike and female Jimmy. So we got two characters, but before Ian Kelson passes, Samson does meet up with him to thank him. So Ian has finally realized, wow, his work has finally paid off. But the thing is, now he's dead. So is Samson going to remember how to cure others? I don't think he's really trying or is thinking about that right now. So plus, Spike's father is still raising the baby zombie that's Samson's kids. I don't know if the next movie will have storyline where Samson's looking for his kid or not. I don't know if the cure will be part of the storyline or not. So I'm really excited for the next one because this one I feel like opens so many doors that the next one has a lot of opportunities to explore multiple different paths, and they could have multiple storylines going on at the same time. But as far as the ending, even though it was pretty cool with these characters, we get a cameo from Jim in the end. So he does in fact return to the franchise, and it's, I think, confirmed he's supposed to be in the next one. I could be wrong, but I think he's supposed to be. So I really like this one, guys. I thought it was really cool. I know it's struggling at the box office as far as the last time I saw, but I would say give this one a chance. If it's still playing theaters near you, I would say check it out. I mean, if you're a fan of the franchise, I would just see this because this one does the franchise a really good service. I feel like it just expands on everything that the franchise has done before, gives something new, you get things that are familiar, and it sets up so much for this next supposed final film. I think it's going to be a great finale. So I'm really excited, guys. Thank you for watching my review of 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. How's that?